Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Monday to you. Good to see it. It is Monday. It is going to be another long week, but good news is we're here with you this morning. Rock and roll and get your coffee, sit back, relax. Let's have ourselves a show on Monday Match. So we're going to talk playoff expansion going to 16, 14, 24. I don't know what the number is anymore. It constantly keeps changing. Then Quinn Ewers speaks out on the NIL. I think it's interesting because he was the first kind of prodigy, I guess, if you will, to be born into this NIL era. I'll explain. We'll talk about it. Norvell speaking either out of his mind or he's got the secrets to everything. Talk about Thomas Castellanos. We'll talk about that as well. Portal changes could it actually be worse for the portal than what's already happening? Professor's going to give you his takes. And then we've been giving you our best quarterbacks, our best running backs. Why not just make our own Heisman watch list? Hightop Heisman watch list coming to you hot and heavy on this beautiful Monday morning. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and crack open the Busch Lattes with old Cody, the Professor, this morning. And saddle up, boys, and grab your cowboy hats because Cowboy Ty is in the building, boys. And
I'm just going to stick to my energy drinks.
Okay. All right. That's fantastic. Gentlemen, good to see you. Happy Monday morning. We missed you last week, Cody. It was a great show. Ty, we talked about it afterwards. Like, do we really need Cody? And we said, yeah. So listen, I wouldn't. All I'm saying is, it's like Bledsoe and Tom. I wouldn't miss another game, okay? Because we might just keep going playing out without you and win a couple of championships.
I hear you.
All right, boys and girls. Well, like I said, we got a great jam-packed show. We did a little poll last week, so this is perfect about the playoff expansion. What do the people want? What do they want to see? But I'm going to pass it to you, Ty. You wanted to talk about this some more. Let you run with it, and then we'll go from there, big dog.
Yeah, I mean, they had another meeting about expanding the playoff to 16 teams where they would get 4 at-large SEC teams, 4 at-large Big Ten teams, 2 ACCs, 2 Big 12s, 1 of the other conferences, 1 at-large, with the highest ranked at-large, and then 3 more at-larges from all the conferences. I think this is way too many. I'm not like a huge fan of it. I also don't like to admit they admit that like the 2 other conferences are so much better than the other 2 power conferences. I mean, they basically came out and admitted that. I thought that was kind of insane to say, but I mean, we all know it's true, but now they're admitting it. Like, this is not right. You know what I mean? Like, we know it's true, but now you're saying it. I don't think it. I think it's way too many. I think the 12 is a very good number. I just think we need to get the seedings right, and I'm okay with all the teams getting in. The conference champion, but I don't necessarily believe they should be getting buys. I think if that adjusting is better than adding 4 more teams. I don't know what you guys think, but I think 16 is too many.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead, Cody.
I mean, you were listing off that thing, and the only thing you're missing is a partridge in a pear tree. Jesus Christ, we're gonna be playing football till March. There ain't gonna be no spring games. We're gonna be playing playoff games.
Playoffs. Look, so for
Golly.
me, I think we're very critical right now. I think all of us college football fans are because there is so many moving pieces. And part of what's frustrating is like it's hard to even really complain or be any constructive because we don't know what's going to be for certain. It's changing so often. So could 16 work if you can show me a viable plan? Yeah, I agree. I'm not a huge fan. This is where I kind of push back because I've always pound my chest. SEC, it means more. Big Ten, and we're the 2 big powerhouses. The rest of you guys can kick rock as far as I'm concerned. That's the fandom in me. But I think that it's pretty gross when we just go, you're not allowed to play at the same level as we are. Like you can't do that. I mean, you can do whatever you want when you run the playoffs, and that's going to be a factor in itself too. When you get 2 major conferences, it's not that the NCAA, it's the Big Ten and the SEC that are saying that we are more valuable. We aren't going to play these hard schedules if we're not guaranteed X. And so there is a little bit of understanding to that. Look, more playoff games. Look, March Madness is exciting. Like, to me, again, if you can show me a viable plan of how it can work, I think the 12 would work if you restructure it like you said. Well, let's go to the people. I put a poll out last week. There's almost 400 votes, which is awesome. We've done plenty of polls. I think it's one of the highest voted we've had on. I said, should the college playoffs expand to 14, to 16, or leave it be? 54% said leave it be, which was not as much as I thought it would be. Out of 400 votes, more than 50%, which is still the majority, but 35% said expand to 16. I think that a lot of us would like to, because look, here's the thing. all you're doing is eliminating useless bowl games anyways, right? So it's not like these games aren't being played. You're just taking up more room for games that are already happening and putting more legit lineups. The reason why I like it, the reason why we all love college football is the back and forth of which conference is better, which teams are better. You're going to see more unique matchups, right? Like a Notre Dame versus literally anybody. That would be fun to watch. Big 12, SEC. You'll see these expansions, which I think will be better for all conferences in the long run with these matchups, especially in the NIL era. So the fact that the games are already being played, that's why I don't see it as a big deal. It's not like you're just like you're creating 2 more games, or Cody saying it's going to last to March. No, you're just taking games that already exist and just making them more popular.
I don't know. I just also think that like some of these teams might get more and more beat up. Also, I mean, injuries become a factor, and playing as long as the schedule as the NFL. I mean, like
Again, those things don't bother
starting
me.
to get.
They're already going to look. It is what it is. I mean, that's just, you're getting paid to play this time, so.
Well, now you can't say anything because you are getting paid to play. Again, it's a very valid point.
Yeah.
My only thing is if you expand it to 16, does anybody really care to see Illinois, Iowa State, Clemson, BYU to make the playoffs? Because that's essentially what would have happened
Clemson did make the playoffs.
with the AP if you
Ole
went
Miss-
with just the AP rankings.
Ole Miss would have made it too, right? 16.
Yep,
You'd have
Ole
4
Miss.
more
Ole Miss,
teams.
SEC.
Clemson
Yeah.
did make it, Cody, because they won the AC
Yeah,
championship.
Yeah. But
Bama would have
I'm
made
just
it.
saying,
Ole
look
Miss
at the
would have made
last
it.
years.
Bama and Ole Miss would have made it, and so would BYU. I would have loved it. Yes.
And SEC and South Carolina would have made it as an at-large team because they would have been the next one.
Would have been a juicy
3
playoff.
at-larges also.
It would have been a juicy playoff.
It would have been very
Okay.
good. I also agree.
that was
Yeah.
that was the postseason AP rankings. I'm sorry I didn't grab the right rankings, but I was just saying.
You're good. No, I love it. So I think it's good. All right, let's talk about this topic here. I brought this up. I thought it was cool. These things always intrigue me. We talked about Quinn a few months ago now, when he entered into the draft, and we were critical of it. And there was actually a lot of people brought up some great points about that. Of look, like even though he took less money to go to the NFL, he was more about the legacy. It wasn't all about the money. This kid comes from money. He's made money. Like an extra 4 million, an extra 4.5, $5 million. Like that would have been cool, but like. This kid wanted to be a Texas quarterback. Like what he went to Texas and did is, and he said, look, I turned this program around, won 11-1, won a Big 12 championship. Like his legacy at Texas was solidified. Why ruin that by going to get an extra bag? Respect the hell out of that. The reason why I also wanted to bring this up, because they asked his thoughts of like, hey, any advice for anybody that's coming into this NIL space? Why I think his opinion is more important, or just important in general, is because he was kind of the first trailblazer, right? He came into college football when this whole NIL thing was starting. He was the big kid with the mullet, goes to Ohio State to get the bag, forgoes his senior year of high school. So all these things, like he was truly like just learning and testing out this market before anybody else. As a number 1 recruit, as a perfect rated recruit, only the 3rd time in history alongside Quinn and Vince Young. So all these things were very, I think, important and a very good person to look at when getting advice of how to navigate through this. And his advice was as good as it's going to be. I think the biggest lesson that I like to tell people, and kind of how I feel, is if you keep the main thing, everything else will really fall in line. Because as soon as you lose what you do to earn the NIL, you lose all the NIL. And as simple as it is, it's fantastic advice for anybody coming in. And I think we and people in life in general, when we start focusing on the reward versus what got us the reward in the first place, we no longer receive the reward. And I think a lot of these kids are falling into that. The ones that you're seeing chasing a quick bag in the portal the next year, and then the next year and the next year, and by the end of it, they're in the middle of nowhere. Not to take shots. This isn't a negative shot, but Jaden Rashada is a prime example. Not saying that he was chasing money, but essentially you could see him trying to go after a bag, and now he's in Sacramento State. Seems might be in a good place, but now he's at Sacramento State. A kid that went from Miami to Florida to Arizona State to Georgia has now went all the way to Sacramento State because we didn't keep the main thing, which is playing football, right? The X's and O's. So again, will people take it as they will? I don't know, but I think if there's somebody that you can listen to, that you can grab onto, I think it is Quinn. Thoughts, boys?
Well, here's the first thing. He wouldn't be allowed to play SEC ball again because the time he would have got his draft grade analysis and everything of where he thought he was going, talk to his agents, and figured out obviously he wasn't going to be back at Texas, he would have had to go play for an ACC team or a Big Ten team. And I don't know necessarily he wanted to do that. So that does make sense too, because he would have missed the winter portal. He would have been in the spring portal. You can't transfer to another SEC program if you're in the spring portal. That's a rule from the SEC. I guess he could have fought it in court, but again, I don't think he wanted to do that. So I think he just said, you know what, might as well just go out as a Texas legacy quarterback like Colt McCoy and all the others that get massive raves and reviews every time they go back there. They're the man, and right off into the sunset.
Yeah, I don't think him leaving or him going to another school is really an option. Even if he could stay, I mean, he could have stayed in the SEC if he left before the in the winter portal, which he could have. I don't think he really.
Yeah,
honestly,
I'm just saying the
looked
time
into it.
frame. The time frame between getting your draft grade
Well,
results
once
and stuff like that, I think he would have missed it.
No, he had time.
He would have
Because Ricky
would
P,
missed
all
the
those
winter
guys
portal.
have done it. He definitely knew what his grade. I think these quarterbacks fell a lot further as a whole than the entire class expected. To be honest with you, Ty.
Yeah, I mean, I respect it, but I also think that he knew that he probably wouldn't be his draft stock wouldn't be as good if he had to go to a different school. I I believe that he knew that Arch was taking over, and if he had to go to a different school and he wouldn't get as much as national TV, and he may not have made the playoff, I think his draft stock would have been lower, and he may not even have been drafted in the situation.
True.
So I like his, I like what he said, but at the end of the day, like I do think there was more to it than what we're making to believe. And like talking about this, I also like I looked into Ashton Genty. That dude got offered so much money from other schools,
To leave
and
Boise.
he said no. Boise gave me my opportunity. This is where I'm going to play my college football. And I respect the hell out of guys like that, because he could have went and got millions from an SEC school. Instead, he just stayed right in Boise, made a name for himself, and made
Got
it to the
millions
league and got
anyways.
money the
The old
the
fashioned
hard way now. That's the hard way.
Look, I think and Quinn will kind of, I would say, not solidify or stamp himself, but definitely will go down as one of the. I mean, kind of had a little lackluster. Look, he did some good things for Texas, but the problem is didn't live up to the hype. Could it be because he had the Arch hype train behind him? Could it be because there's just so much expectations for this Texas team? But in reality, when you kind of look at it, man, it really did turn this Texas team around that wasn't really doing much over the last couple of years. So he'll go down as one of the good college quarterbacks. Could he come and flourish in the NFL later on? We'll see. But this is a great transition into speaking of just good college quarterbacks. Quarterbacks, they're not going to transition. It's just a matter of a fact. How Kyler Murray has made it work thus far is beyond me. Go ahead.
Well, I don't think. I don't think Quinn's a bad football player. I just think in the situation, he knew that the best situation was to leave, because he could have been in a real bad spot.
Yeah, for sure. No, I
if
think
he's
when you really look at like again, we're kind of saying, oh, he should have took the money, but it's like, yeah, long term, this was probably the best case scenario for him for sure. But let's talk about this again. Good college quarterbacks. This is a guy this is going to be his career this year. Is a quarterback for FSU, Thomas Castellanos. But Mike Norvell got hot and heavy speaking about him. And look, man, there's I don't know if offseason has just gotten that bad where everyone just finds a way to hype up a team. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just the Kool-Aid. It's a thing that goes around. There's like few teams that are just like, you're going to be really bad. But everyone else is going to win the national championship. I guess we all forget that only one gets to win. But Norvell came out and said that Thomas Castellanos could go out there and be the best quarterback in the country. As Cody mentioned before the show, the young man that got benched at BC last year. Now, this obviously begs the question, is this coach talk? Is it real talk? I'm going to let you lead it off, Todd, since you're the FSU fan and doesn't think we're just bashing the drum here to beat up FSU. I'll let you settle the tone and or set the tone, I guess. And we'll go from there.
Listen, I like the kid, and I like his like electric athleticism, and I think he can be good for the team. But I think Norvell is just coach talking here, and by that I mean like it's good. You got to hype your players up. You got to they have to believe that they're the best. And when you give people that confidence, like this is a good coaching move. But I mean, he's not going to be the best quarterback in the country. I mean, let's face it. Like, first of all, he's 5'9". He's about 180 pounds. And no quarterback is going to ever be from that size and be the best quarterback in the country. I mean, he's going up against guys like Klubnik and Nussmeier and Sellers. He's nowhere near on the level of those guys as the best quarterback. And someone said that they might be comparing him to the Cam Newton when he came to Auburn. He's half the size of Cam Newton. So I think Norvell, once again, good coaching move, but I don't think he's going to. I think he can play the system. I think he can play the system to maybe want to be one of the better ones to play the system, but he's not one of the best in the country. I mean, I'm not getting twisted.
I don't know if he's trying to play like he's going to come in and be what Cam Ward was for Miami, because obviously Cam Ward comes in and arguably was one of the best quarterbacks in the country last year. Like, first of all, that was a system that was already
put. Though
Cam had a lot of great success leading up to that one. There was a system in place. You weren't flipping over an entire offense, right? Bringing in a new up. There's so many more things that were happening for Miami and other quarterbacks that transfer in. Jordan Travis took Jordan a couple years under Norvell to really find his footing in that system that Norvell was already established with. The other thing that you got to keep in mind too is that I lost my complete train of thought there because Norvell has me in shambles here. But yeah, with him saying this, and look, I wrote an article about it too because Thomas Castellanos was upset because you guys weren't on primetime, which was a 3:30 slot against Alabama, which, I mean, it is primetime on ABC. It's not 7:30. I didn't get the take on it, but was like, bet, we're not primetime. Like, I think this team, these players, and these coaches should be the least spoken to and the least spoken out about in the entire country. Just shut up. You went 2-10 last year. After the year before, you complained what you had. You had the ability to do that. But why are you running your mouth? Stay under the radar. No need to cause anybody to give you any more attention than they already are. Sneak up on people. You have taken all that away. By him tweeting that out and by now these comments here, it's like, okay, like we have to now make sure that we probably could have just forgot about FSU. Right? But now what's going to happen is these games are going to have some talk behind it because of what's happening here, which is not good for FSU. They should have just shut up. Cody?
Go ahead, Cody.
Oh, boy. Golly. Yeah, I once heard one time that no defensive lineman from Florida would start on FSU's roster last year. How'd that turn out, Ty? Or,
who said?
Well, golly. Golly. Let me tell you this. The kid is 5'3", shorter than I am. He's 165 pounds.
Easy.
Soaking wet.
Easy. Hey, listen, that's a freezing cold take.
Hey, listen. Hold on. The best thing that he's going to be, I hope he can drive a truck because he's going to be needing a CDL. Once Alabama smashes him, they're going to pull him off the turf like a tick on a dog's ass. I mean, it's terrible. He's not good. He's not good. He got finished at BC.
Calm down.
You couldn't play for Boston College?
So his 2 years that he started, he threw for 2,200 yards in 2023 and 1,300 yards last year. Now again, he got benched. Only threw for 161 times. He was much more improved, which is weird.
To be fair, hold up, ho. To be fair, Bill O'Brien is a pro-style quarterback. Bill O'Brien needed a pro-style quarterback in his offense. That's his offense.
Yeah, he didn't need a midget.
He's not a pro-style quarterback. I'm just saying. And to say that he needs a CDL, first of all, he can't see over the steering wheel of the truck. So how the hell is he going to run CDL?
I get it.
Here's the big takeaway, though. He rushed for 1,100 yards in 2023. He only rushed for 194 in 2024. So clearly,
because he was playing in a pro-style.
I know. I'm on your team. I'm agreeing.
Okay,
whoa,
I'm sorry.
I didn't yell at you. That was Cody.
I apologize.
So look, I think that if he has similar numbers, if he throws for 2,500 yards or 2,200 and rushes for over 1,000, which again, in that Gus Malzahn, what did KJ do for old Gus at UCF before he just got too big and heavy?
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is I think he's a different kind of player than KJ Jefferson. KJ Jefferson's like more big and just wants to run forward and he can power you. This guy's electric. I give it to him. Like when he's running, you better know where he is because he will get out and he will scramble. But like that's got to be his game. He's not going to be standing in the pocket throwing the football. That's just not who he is.
Here's where I don't think it's as an outrageous take as Cody is making it out to be. Because look, I think the system is massive. We know what Gus Malzahn
Yeah.
will do with quarterbacks like Thomas. And we also know what Norvell will do with quarterbacks like Thomas. I think Jordan Travis's game has a part of Thomas's game, that ability to take over a game, that ability to move the pocket, make it mobile, right? Extend plays. That's Thomas's MO. That's his identity. And Norvell thrives when the quarterback kind of just does whatever the quarterback can do in a weird way. Like that cohesion works. So if you look at the quarterbacks that he recruited, right, after Jordan Travis, with your Lukes, and I can't think of all their names right now. They're all gone. But they were more quartered towards that pro style, which just didn't fit Mike's eye and scheme of just sitting in the pocket. It just didn't do well because Norvell had to kind of be the brains, and that didn't work in his motion. So I can see where Norvell feels confident, like I'm back into my wheelhouse with this style of quarterback. And look, you can be a Thomas Castellano. You can be 5'6" taller than Cody and have success and be considered one of the top guys in college football because of the way the game is played. And that's why I think it's an egregious take.
Book it. Not happening. He won't even make it through the season.
But I can see why Coach Norvell feeling a little confident. And
that's all he has.
No,
can't get anybody else.
It's,
Nobody wants to go to that dumpster fire program. You don't
dumpster fire
recruit high
program. We
school
just went
very
13-0 2 years ago. What are you're going to call us a dumpster fire?
on the back of one player.
Well, look, and this kid can do that.
He's a similar kind of player.
Yeah, look, Cody,
except Jordan Travis could see over the steering wheel.
He doesn't have to see over the steering wheel when he rolls out.
I mean, it wasn't like Jordan Travis was a big man. Like, let's not get it twisted.
I don't see it.
Also,
I watched a couple
BC
games
about his size.
I just don't see it though.
I make jokes
Jordan
about
Travis
his size.
could throw the ball.
But so can he when he gets out and you roll the pocket and you move the pocket.
Dude, 2 years ago, this kid was electric. This kid was a legitimate threat. Then Bill O'Brien comes in and kind of tries to flip the whole program around, and it just doesn't work for him. He can throw the ball better than KJ Jefferson, I think. KJ Jefferson just can throw it 100 miles on the football field. This kid can kind of zip it around when he gets moving in the pocket.
I think it's a crazy take to say he could be the best quarterback in the country, but I don't think it's a crazy take to think that he's going to have a hell of a football season, because I do think that is very, very capable. I think he's very capable of playing the offense, Gus Malzahn offense.
That's what I like.
How are you going to be the best quarterback in the country?
I bet he has under
quarterback in Florida.
I bet he has under 2,000 yards throwing, but probably close to 2,000 yards rushing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, his rushing ability is what I think is
which is huge in college football for quarterbacks. I think that's where these cats can have success. I don't think these cats can go and win the Heisman. I'm not saying any of those things, but look, he'll be. I think he'll give FSU's. I like FSU against Miami this year. I think we'll see, but I'll kind of lean on that more, but we'll get into it. Let's talk this portal changes. Cody, this is your takeaway here, big guy. Settle in and let's hear it.
Yeah, so possibly ending the spring portal. I know a lot of people, especially coaches, want it gone, but I think that could cause a problem in college football. What basically is going to happen is you're going to essentially put all the portal talent in the pot at once instead of breaking it up into two pots. And the problem with that is the very elite guys it's going to be a bidding war, which it already is. And then everybody else is kind of going to get left in the bucket. And, you know, I think if you're a pro player, I think the two portal system works with the openings. Plus, you know, if you have a guy that goes down like a quarterback or a running back, you can kind of fill that need in the spring portal. If it's gone, your roster's set come winter, minus the kids that you get from high school. So I think that a lot of people hate it for obvious reasons, but I don't think it's as bad as what everybody thinks it is.
Yeah, look, I think I can see your thoughts of where it could really ramp up if you put it into a pressure cooker, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's going to be some, again, this goes back to our conversation about the postseason where there's so many moving pieces and parts to this thing that there's easy ways to overcome this pressure cooker, which I know, Ty, you're going to kind of allude to, where there's a salary cap situation where if you put that in place, this fixes everything that a lot of things that we're talking about. Look, I think that I think it's going to make it better. Because the window is still short. That's the big thing. The window that winter window is still short. You have the playoffs that are going to impact that a little bit. I think it cleans it up. Yes. Well, I think that I think some teams will get burned and overpay, as is the same way they do in recruiting. Like everything has its own little pressure cooker. The flaw with this is that there really is no true pressure cooker because of that spring portal, right? You can see where guys can sign and then dip out. That's what I don't like. The Nico's brother situation where you sign in January and you leave 4 months later and you don't even do anything. That's the part. There's pros to it too. So the pressure cooker you're talking about, I think is very easily avoidable. And this is why they also just went and hired everyone, just basically hired GMs and entire front office staff to overcome these problems. So I think it's the best move overall, but more things have to happen on top of this move. Ty?
Well, first, I think the one-time portal thing is better, and that's my opinion. And the reason is, first of all, I think it should be after the whole season's over. Everyone should be done playing before we start transferring. Let's get that one thing. That should be one thing that needs to change. Also, it kind of brings back the old school. You recruit. Like, if your quarterback goes down, you've recruited a quarterback. Make him a football player. Like, I don't know. Like, I like one portal. I don't really like it when it's open during the regular season. Like, we're in the playoffs and people are transferring off the playoff teams. I mean, to me, that's absolutely stupid.
Too many free agencies.
I don't know.
It's just bad for the game.
I agree. You got people transferring off playoff teams. Like, they win the national title. You could have got a ring.
Well,
Like,
I mean, look,
what are we doing?
that's still going to happen in the winter portal. That's not going to change that.
No, I'm saying that needs to change. Yeah, that's the part that I think needs to change. One time after the season, in between the season,
I
and
think
the
again
spring,
that's another
you
rule
can transfer.
that needs to be put in place. You should get one free transfer, which that has been kind of a conversation that I see resurfacing again. Is like, hey, one free transfer, and then go back to the old way where you're not just hopping from school to school. There's parts where I still like where you're able to move on, but I think it would make kids slow down a little bit in their decision, and also truly make recruiting back to its roots of like, hey, vetting a school, vetting the process, vetting how I'm going to fit in the scheme, vetting is this coach going to be here for the next 2 to 3 years, so the plan that they lay out for me is liable, right? And sure, I'm taking less NIL, but the plan makes more sense for me because I can't just jump around. And that's where, again, there's so many things that have to change that need to get solidified. We need to just get the fact. Look, we complain about these kids moving around, but I mean, we got a billion-dollar organization that can't get the damn rules right. So if we can't get the playoffs right, the rules right, and we want to get mad at these kids for not getting their school right on the first or second chance.
Rankings.
Come on. Yeah, come on.
I will say this though. It'll look more like an undrafted free agent scenario because the kids will go into the portal in the winter. Doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have to sign till that spring enrollment. So you will still have kids
do that.
coming.
You're not going to do that.
No, you're allowed to. You're allowed to.
I know, you're not going to miss spring ball, bro. You have to get enrolled in January or you can't sign until the summer period. You're not going to take 4 months off of football.
If your defensive tackle breaks a leg, you can run in the portal and grab somebody that's already in the portal.
Oh, they didn't get picked
up. Or
you
get one of the guys you recruited and make him a football player like we used to do.
I don't want to hear about recruiting from an FSU guy. Jesus, Pete.
That's just undrafted free agency.
Well, that's
maybe
but
we should
gonna happen.
I don't care.
But the thing is if you get in the portal in the wintertime, you might not come. You might not play ball.
All right.
It's tough on the kids for sure.
Let's dive into this. So we've been doing a lot of takes with our top 5 quarterbacks, top 5 running backs, all those things. Been great conversations. Now, the two things that we've done thus far, we sent our list in and I've made my own list. So for this one, I thought Ty sent in his list and I actually really enjoyed it. Right? I think it was a great list because the odds come out. I think out of all the odds of things, I can't say that, but I would say, I feel confident in this. The Heisman odds are probably the most outrageous and the most likely to change. They're the most drastic to change just because of that's just the way that it is. Obviously, your favorite team to win too, but they're usually pretty spot on. Like top 5 teams are they're always there. Like they got a pretty good inclination of how those guys are going to roll into things. I want to say Donovan Edwards was obviously an early favorite. Carson Beck. Travis Hunter was up there. And obviously he won. But that was, I would say, kind of like a toss up, if you will. Anywho, I'm rambling. We wanted to go after it, and I let Ty choose his 5, and then we'll argue about it. Great 5, in my opinion. Great 5, and I love it dearly. Garrett Nussmeier, number 1 slot. I don't know if you had this in any particular order, but I like the order too. I think it's a very healthy order. We've had plenty of conversation about Garrett and what we like about him. We also would argue that we didn't put him as our top SEC quarterback, so we may be shooting ourselves in the foot here. But I think there's multiple arguments of why you actually did have him as your top SEC quarterback. But look, Garrett at times looked the part many of times last year. LSU has reloaded, like this pick a lot. Then you got Cade over at Clemson, who really just found his rhythm last year. I mean, this kid was looking like a typical Clemson quarterback, right? Trevor Lawrence-esque in that Dabo Swinney system. They recruited well. They reloaded what they needed in the portal. Very Ohio State-esque, like kind of similar to last year. Like the system that he's in. Love the schedule that he's dealing with. He'll be a good one there. Lenore Sellers, obviously, is going to be, I would say, is a great pick as well from what he was able to do. The last two are fun, right? And you even said that. Jeremiah Smith is high on a lot of people's list, as he should be. I think we have a real legitimate chance to see. Now, Travis Hunter was essentially a wide receiver, but another wide receiver, I guess, right? Win another one. Now, the quarterback situation, I think, plays a little bit, but I don't know if Will Howard was just this lights out guy slinging it. Ton of experience, right? Which helped, but Julian Sand turning some heads at camp. So Jeremiah Smith is just a freak athlete. I think he would make me look good. You know what I mean? That's where a Heisman candidate comes into play. Some would argue that Travis Shador look good. Caleb Downs, man, I like this pick a lot because he's one of my favorite players to watch. This guy plays everywhere. I swear to goodness, if they let him, he'd line up at tackle. At nose tackle. I'm telling you right now, dude, he would line up and he'd figure it out. Like, that's just how electric he is on the defense. He's all over the football field. He is touching. He is a part of the play in some kind of way and is disrupting it, right? He's coming off the edge. He's dropping back. He's playing nickel. He is literally all over the football field. And again, outside of playing the other side of the ball, very Travis Hunter-like when it comes to that defensive side. Ty, I'll let you explain your list, but I like it. It's a fun, kind of fire me up kind of list. And we'll get after it.
Well, I put Garrett first, and it's not because I also yes, he's my favorite quarterback going into the year, but I put him there because LSU quarterback put up numbers, and to win the Heisman, let's face it, you got to put up numbers.
Agreed.
And Brian Kelly allows his quarterbacks to put up a lot of touchdowns, a lot of yards, all the thing that and if LSU's a top team and he puts up those numbers, he's probably going to win the Heisman. Klubnik just started finding his rhythm last year, and he started looking like an absolute quarterback, not just a guy who can run, but now he understands it. He sees it. I was watching him, in the playoff game against Texas, and he was bringing them back. I mean, he legitimately was bringing them back, and he looked the part. I think that he takes a big step, and I think he's going to be a top 5 pick in the NFL.
This kid threw 3,600 yards last year, 36-6 in Cade. Again, a very similar season, a quiet 3,600 yards, right? Because of all the noise that was going on and how slow Clemson started. But yeah, like you said, really found his rhythm in that back half of the season and still threw for 3,600 yards. Let's see. Started off at 142 against Ugly, right? Ugly. Like Clemson was written off. They're dead. 209 against NC State, 255, 235, and then all of a sudden just really got going there. Didn't play against Citadel and threw for 198. So there's another game where like if he's in the conversation, he plays probably a little bit longer because it is a stat game. So yeah, somebody really to keep an eye on. Sorry to interrupt, but go ahead.
No, you're good. It's good to get those numbers out because people who like you said, after the first game they rode Clemson off, and like a lot of people probably didn't pay attention to what he was doing, but he grew a lot, and I think he's going to take that next step. Sellers is just a guy. I don't know if he can put up the numbers because of the way South Carolina plays. They seem to just, they're kind of a running team, and they kind of grind you down, and he's able to make those plays, but they suffocate you. They play defense. They run the football. They kind of play an NFL style of game almost, not a system, but like they play run the football first before we want to throw it. But if Sellers can be the guy that I think he is with all the athleticism he's got, they might start giving him more. He might have more opportunities to throw the ball down the field. I like it a lot. I'm not know if he's going to quite put up the numbers, but to me, he has definitely got the athletic ability. And
I think
Jeremiah Smith,
honestly, you could have swapped Jeremiah Smith with Lenoris. I feel better about Jeremiah
Yeah.
winning than the Lenoris Sellers.
yeah,
Honestly.
100%. I don't disagree. Jeremiah Smith will be the number one pick in the NFL draft when he decides to come out. They've already said that if he came out this year, he'd have been number one pick, and it was hands down. It wasn't even close.
It's good.
The
Dude.
guy is legitimately. He's
fun to watch.
He's
That Ohio
he's
State
fun.
team,
I
man, is gonna
mean,
be another fun team to watch. I can't I hate to say it, but with Caleb Down and Jeremiah
is.
Smith, they're two most watched guys on college football. Man, they're so good and they're so fun.
That playoff game against Oregon, I mean, he took a ball that he had no reason to score, and I don't even think he got touched. I mean, he just took the ball and he was gone. Like no
Yeah.
one even touched him. He's an athletic freak. He gets open. He understands the game. He runs great routes. He does everything the receiver is supposed to do. If you could go draw up AI and say, "Hey, AI, draw me up the best receiver in the country," they're going to draw Jeremiah Smith.
I don't think
but
they
that's
could
what they
draw
would
Jeremiah Smith.
like he runs the great routes. He gets open. He catches the ball. Like this is what we want. And that last pick is just a defensive player, Caleb Downs. I mean, the guy was a finalist for top defensive back last year. He was a finalist for top defensive player. And like you said, he loves the game of football. He's a fiery guy. He runs downhill. He understands like concepts. He will hit you. He's going to pick the ball off. He's going to go to the house. He was the number one recruit in the country for a reason.
Top 5
he
pick
plays
next year?
the part.
Has to be, right?
It's very possible. It's very possible. It just depends on what these quarterbacks do, who's picking where. But he's a top 10. He's a top 5 football player in the NFL. But like, will he get picked there as a safety? I don't know.
Cody?
Yeah, I don't think Caleb Downs has a shot in the dark to win the Heisman. I just say it just because of this. Last person to win the Heisman as a DB, who was it? Does
Travis
anybody
Hunter.
know?
Charles Woodson, baby.
Charles Woodson back in '97.
It happened.
no.
It happened 6 months ago, guys.
No.
Yeah, but
no.
you can't count him as a DB. Like, he's got an asterisk beside.
Yeah.
He's a DB.
I saw him get bodied a couple times. Easy. Jeremiah Smith has to be my
that
number
doesn't
one.
disagree with the position that he plays.
All I'm saying, I'm
Whether
not
he got
saying he
DB,
didn't
you
win
said
it,
he got
but won it
bodied.
'cause-
He's still a DB. What happened to him on the football is irrelevant to the position that he played.
Okay, so the last great DB to come out and get a Heisman was Charles Woodson. Say what you want about Travis Hunter. Jeremiah Smith has to be my number one, and just because of this, I think he's gonna get all the limelight. He's gonna get prime time. He's gonna have those Heisman moments, and that's what they talk about, Heisman moments. Another guy that I think can have a lot of Heisman moments, just in the highlight reel, is Lenoris Sellers, a guy that's super athletic. He does crazy stuff. He can launch the ball 100 yards down the field. I think that Lenoris Sellers can also have Heisman moments. We think about Jaden Daniels when he was
literally
so
in my
good, those
head.
Heisman moments.
Yeah.
And Cade Klubnik and Garrett Nussmeier, I don't know if they can have those. I just don't see it for them. So I would have to drop them to the bottom of the list, and I'd have to put a running back somewhere at number 5, just for funds.
Yeah, I don't hate I like your perspective on that. Look, Cade's, like we said, Cade's quiet. Half this battle is marketing. Half this battle is knowing that they're in the conversation. Prime example, Dylan Gabriel. Nobody knew the guy was even playing out there in Oregon. Great numbers last year. Never really had any Heisman moments though, but led a team undefeated and won the Big Ten 12 championship. The guy was invited, wasn't he? He was there, so I can't say that but was he really? Was he really even in part of the conversation? No. Cam Ward, a lot of Heisman moments, right? Hence the invite. So yeah, I like this take a lot. I think he had the numbers too. Obviously, he definitely had the numbers. Ward, but not like just kind of crazy, outrageous, right? To put it to bed, but a ton of moments in being Cam Ward. So I like that perspective a lot. I think Garrett Nussmeier can. I think that Brian Kelly and LSU will allow for those opportunities to happen. So I will put him above Lenoris. I agree with Lenoris being a little bit lower, or No, you like Lenore's. I agree with Cade. I like Cade. I like him a lot, but I agree with him being in that system. Could they be looked at? But look, when you get just curb stomped by Georgia week 1, it's hard to bounce back. And there isn't. The problem is playing in the ACC is there isn't many big limelight games that are going to have you tune in, that are going to get you those moments. Oregon felt that heat last year.
Their preseason ranking alone is going to help him. By that, I mean, they're going to be probably in the top 3.
Well, so they were last year. They were a top 10 team when they got Georgia. The problem, look, they can't get curb stomped game 1. That's going to be a big factor.
This year, I'm just saying that everyone thinks that Clemson's the best team this year overall. Like they think that everyone, from what I understand and what I keep reading, is they think that Clemson's the #1 team in the country coming in.
I don't know if everyone does, but yes, they are. Okay. They are favorites for some. I do agree. Yes, more than before. So you got a great point.
Kate Klubnik's got a heck of a receiver over there and Moore too. I mean that kid is
TJ Moore
doesn't get a lot of spotlight. Doesn't get a lot of spotlight like Jeremiah Smith, but he is
good.
He is filthy.
Yeah,
oh God,
like that kid a lot. Florida missed out on him. Like that kid a lot. Man, really good.
Yeah, I love that. You know, like I love the position they're in. It was also a decision on how I ranked them, and I wanted a defensive player in it. I don't want to be boring and put 4 quarterbacks like, you know, the DraftKings.
Look, I think if there's going to be a
600,
DB,
which is crazy to me.
Yeah, if there's going to be a defensive player, Caleb Downs is a phenomenal one because of how great he is. I mean, I don't. It's just yeah, very versatile, very impactful. But yeah, the numbers are just hard to really support and go up against this. Look, I would put him in over running back.
Yeah, 100%. I think DJ's got a chance. I mean, you know, that comes down to how many games Florida wins, though. Like, you know, they're over under right now 6.5, which I think is crazy.
I kind of like it too because
a
lot of people are you're seeing even in Vegas has the Arch and the DJs up there, which I love. Like that fires me up as a Gator fan. But there's Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs, Nussmeier, Cade, Lenoris. Those guys have shown us a lot more than the other 2 that we just talked about, and kind of have a little more of grounding that we can build upon than I like. The upside, understandably, is massive with Arch and DJ. I know that. I think they're going to be great. But if you're truly putting odds behind it, I know what Caleb can already do. He's done it for the last 2 years, and he's you assume only going to get better and stronger and faster. Jeremiah Smith did it with 1 year, with one spring ball with Will Howard. I mean, again, ton of experience, which plays a huge factor, but they lose their offensive coordinator. A lot of changes in Ohio State too, but that kid is just, you still got Brian Hartline, who's your wide receiver coach, now going to OC. So how much different is it really going to be? So a lot of similarities for those guys.
Well, the Arch thing, go ahead. You're good. Go ahead.
I'll say this too. Our boy Billy Napier said that Jeremiah Smith was the best high school prospect since Julio Jones, and I think he nailed it right on the freaking head because, I mean, Jeremiah Smith is incredible, but there's always a wild horse. You know, there's always a guy that lights it up that you're not thinking about or not talking about.
It was Genty last year.
Maybe it's the Arizona State quarterback. Lights
Sam
up, getting his wide receiver back. He's got Tyson, elite wide receiver. Maybe it's a guy we're not thinking about.
I think Sam Levitt will be very Kyle McCord-esque like. Like I was pumping that drum early on because I was slinging that thing. But I think
he can sling it.
He could sling it. I just don't think he's going to have to be able to withstand it. And because
playing
at Arizona State,
his running game takes a deep back too.
Yeah,
so
like now Arizona State, you really got to crush. Like you have to be perfect, like Genty was, to be in the conversation and then get over the hump. I like it though. Not a horrible pick. I think you said Dark Knight, so I get it. I respect it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the reason, but this is what I keep telling people too. So like they make Arch Manning 6-1. Their goal is not to necessarily think who they think is going to win the Heisman. They want people to bet that. So like people see the name Manning and they automatically assume, oh, his name's Manning.
Free
Let's
money.
bet him. So now if you get it 6-1, they're still going to bet him because his name's Manning.
Free money is what you're saying. So Vegas is ripping us off here. They're clickbaiting
basically,
us, if you will.
That's their goal, is to get people to bet that side.
It'd be like putting $500 on a 25-1 for FSU to win more than 5 games this year.
All right, boys and
You know
girls.
what I
Let's
mean?
go ahead and smash the like button, subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed today's Monday Mashup Live every Monday at 8:05. You know what to do. Let us know how you're feeling down in the comment section below. Till then, that's Cody, Ty, Shelton. See you boys in the next one. Peace and love, baby.